2 decades after one of Hollywood's most talked-about marriages came to an end, Bob Thornton has finally opened up with clarity and calmness about why his relationship with Angelina Jolie didn't last. Their marriage was intense, passionate, and unlike anything Hollywood had seen at the time. Fans still remember the headlines, the red carpet moments, and the dramatic way they expressed their love. But behind the scenes, the reality was far more complicated, and Bob Thornton now admits that the divorce happened not because of scandal or betrayal, but because they were living two completely different lives heading in opposite directions. Bob explains that when he married Angelina, he was already deeply rooted in a more private, simple lifestyle. He liked quiet spaces, familiar routines, and a slower pace. Angelina, on the other hand, was rising rapidly in Hollywood and discovering her global identity. She was taking on bold roles, humanitarian missions, and responsibilities that put her on the world stage. According to Bob, the difference wasn't just in their careers, it was in their personalities and their natural rhythms. He admits that Angelina had an energy, ambition, and drive that he admired, but he simply wasn't built for that world. She was living in a big, global space, he once said. I was still living in a small one. That difference, he reveals, created emotional distance even though they cared deeply for each other. They weren't fighting, and they weren't angry. They were growing into different versions of themselves. Bob also discusses how overwhelming the public attention became. Angelina was quickly becoming one of the most recognized figures in the world, and the spotlight followed her everywhere. Bob, who never liked fame or the pressure of public attention, found himself uncomfortable with how massive their relationship became. He admits that the constant press coverage, fan scrutiny, and unrealistic expectations added a weight he wasn't prepared to carry. Another issue he reflects on is communication. They loved each other, but their worlds were so different that they struggled to stay emotionally connected. Angelina was traveling for films and humanitarian work, while Bob was more at home, writing, acting quietly, and focusing on smaller creative projects. The distance wasn't intentional, it just happened naturally as their lives expanded in different directions. What surprises many people is that Bob speaks of Angelina with deep respect, even admiration. He makes it clear that there was no bitterness between them. Instead, he says their divorce was a painful but honest realization that they wanted different things. He also revealed that they stayed in touch afterward and maintained a friendly connection, something nearly unheard of in Hollywood divorces. After 20 years, Bob's explanation isn't dramatic, it's human. Sometimes relationships don't end because someone did something wrong. Sometimes they end because two people outgrow each other, evolve differently, or need to walk on separate paths to find balance. Looking back, Bob says he will always treasure the time they shared. Their relationship was unique, emotional, and unforgettable, but it wasn't meant to last forever. And now, 2 decades later, he finally feels comfortable explaining why.